up, my YouTube babies? How's everybody today? So I just want to plug someone really quick at the top of this video. I don't know, plug a guy who actually lives in my area. His name is New School Ed. He only has 9 subscribers, but he should have at least 11. He makes really funny, just kind of, you know, everyday life videos. He'll prank his wife by turning off the lights while she's in the bathroom. Just kind of, you know, I don't know. Kind of looks like Conan O'Brien a little. Kind of shares the same kind of, you know, demented sense of humor, kind of shit like that. Anyways, some Canadian guy. Sub him. Go sub him right now. Go, 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 go. Okay, you done? Alright, today we're going to talk about a band, one of my favorite bands growing up as a teenager, the Butthole Surfers. This is their 1986 album called Rembrandt Pussyhorse, and it's also, this is originally released in 1986, like I said. It's been re-released since then with a EP called, I can never remember, Cream Corn from the Sockets of Davis. But anyway, let's talk about Rembrandt Pussyhorse. It's their second full-length release. Butthole Surfers, they're a crazy band. They formed in around 1981. They formed in San Antonio, Texas, and the majority of this album was recorded in and around there. They recorded this in several studios because they had a very hectic touring schedule. They're crazy guys. Before Butthole Surfers were formed, the lead singer, Gibby Haynes, was actually the captain of his basketball team and also had this prestigious honor of being the accountant of the year for his college or university. And he hooked up with his friend, you know, Paul Leary, the guitarist. He's also one of the big names in Butthole Surfers. Anyway, I guess they got into drugs or something, and they just wanted to make some very uncommercial music with a very uncommercial name. They called themselves Butthole Surfers, and I pretty much guaranteed that they would never get written about in newspapers or get played on the radio, so they very much got spread around by word of mouth. Butthole Surfers on this album and on the previous album, Hairless, Powerless, Another Man's Sack, they just make this very messy, fucked up kind of punk rock, rockabilly, rock and roll, just chock full of psychedelic drugs. Like, it's like on some of the songs here, like Gibby actually has lyrics and sings, but for the most part it's just some weird, you know, frantic instrumentation of like the sloppy guitar, sloppy bass, sloppy drums, and just Gibby Haynes having this kind of dialogue, stream of consciousness, babbling. You'll babble a lot on here. And they incorporate a lot of weird sound effects on here, like really, like most of the songs you can always hear something dying at some point, someone screaming for their life, some weird gurgling sounds. Like, these guys are just fucked up out of their minds for the most part back then, back in 1986. They got some free studio time to record this, though, because the guy who owned the studio would let them record for free if he could play on a couple songs. So he plays piano on the first song, he plays something else on a couple other tracks. They had a pit bull back then, and they recorded their pit bull growling, and this is called one of their more experimental albums because they incorporated a lot of different instrumental combinations and like organs. And on the first song, again, where the guy who owned the studio played piano, they recorded all their songs into this 16-track tape deck. And I guess a country western band were playing there beforehand, and the Butthole Surfers were just so fucked up that they accidentally left one of the channels open, and it played this violin track backwards, totally accidentally. And I guess they were either they liked the way it sounded, or they're too tired to play it again and edit it out. So they keep this backwards violin solo during their little song called "Creep in the Cellar." It's got this going on in the background. It's just a crazy psychedelic drug of an album. It's like shoving LSD directly into your ears. Yeah, it's very much so, like, evil. Like, it's pretty evil sounding stuff. And I got into these guys just because I saw their video on Beavis and Butthead for Who Was in My Room last night, and it was crazy. And I'm like, I gotta get into these guys. And it's very messy, very bizarre music. Lots of, you know, tape manipulation, and like Gibby Haynes, when he sings, he says, "Ow!" a lot. Ooh, ow! Just he's a madman. He's totally nuts. What else can I say about this album? I already talked about how there's not really any lyrics, some babbling and him screaming and stuff. Very experimental, very noisy too. These guys dabble in a lot of weird noise. This was the original cover for it. This is originally the back cover. I think that's a muscle-bound woman, one of those bodybuilder girls, close up for crotch. Oh, also, there's also a cover of American Woman on here, which was originally played by the Guess Who, and then like Lenny Kravitz also played it later on. But also there's an EP on here called Cream Corn in the Socket of Davis. The Davis they're referring to is Sammy Davis Jr., who lost his eye in a 1954 car accident, and they originally wanted to put on the cover of that EP a drawing of that, of Cream Corn shooting out of his eye socket, but I guess they didn't like it, so they opted to have this as their cover, which is something that the guitarist Paul Leary found while jamming at this photographer's place, and they were drinking and playing impromptu guitar solos, and he actually knocked over the photographer's portfolio, and this picture came out. She's actually surrounded by like 5 other girls, but they just cropped it to keep her in. That's the front, and this was originally the back. And then notice how there's no information about who's playing anything on here. Here's the case again. And it doesn't say who's doing what on here, so you don't really know what's going on. But yeah, all the songs recorded in and around San Antonio, Texas. 6-track tape deck, and I guess they just throw in a lot of booze, probably some heroin and psychedelic drugs, and you just get this weird, nonsensical, very random freak out. Like, some of it's kind of ill-advised, but I don't know, man. It's pretty messy shit. But I don't know, Butthole Surfers has always been one of my favorite bands. If you're into very noisy, very drug-induced kind of sounds, like, this is not commercial music at all. It's very noisy, very gritty. It's not straightforward sounding in the least. Yeah, I don't know. This is the roots of their band, though, because it's only their second full-length album, released in 1986 on Touch and Go Records. Rembrandt Pussyhorse with Cream Corn of the Socket of Davis by the Butthole Surfers. Just bizarre music. Subscribe to New School Ed.